Welcome back to OpenLine, talking with wildlife officers from TWRA, boating safety, hunting, anything you want to talk about. Certainly this is a busy time of year. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Jeff. Hello, Jeff.
Hey.
Go right ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I just caught the end of the program, and one thing I've noticed, like last couple of years or whatever, driving seems to take place every year, right? And boating includes fishing, swimming, etc. Is it possible that abandoned fishing line is trapping people underwater when they jump off their boat or go swimming?
Abandoned fishing line.
I have worked several drownings, boating related, swimming related, and I have never had anyone that we found have fishing line or any kind of line entanglement. Not saying that's not impossible, but I've never had it happen in 19 years.
And are we seeing more drownings or not? I mean, what about that, just generally speaking?
I think
it's fairly consistent.
Yeah, it's not going up or down. It's just kind of consistent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll have a year we don't have hardly any, and then we'll have 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 in the district the next year. But it's pretty consistent, seems like.
One of the questions I bet you get a lot is, how do you get the job that you have? You just said that you have never woken up and say, I don't want to go into work, which is great.
Yeah.
So something different every day, or outside every day. How do you become a wildlife officer? And I guess you just went through it.
I did.
So what did you do? What did you have to do?
Well, the very first thing to do is get your 4-year degree in biology, or for example, fisheries and wildlife. Biology is what my degree was in. And other things would be gain a lot of experience. A lot of times you need to volunteer and whatnot, because it's a very difficult job to get. Believe it or not, they hire 1 time a year, each state, and maybe 5 people will get hired per year, and the applicants can go up to 800 people maybe will apply. So it's very competitive, extremely competitive, and the more experience and knowledge you have will go a long way. But once you do get hired, like I was 1 year ago, a few days ago, you're going to start with a police academy, and mine was 12 weeks long, and you'll get your post certification, and that's a long, very good process to go through. Kind of builds the your knowledge of law enforcement. Whenever I had the experience and knowledge of and a degree in fisheries and wildlife biology, they cover the law enforcement side of it, and then also we kind of have our own game warden academy, and that's where we learn everything about the state, the laws, the regulations, and everything that goes into our job here. In about hunting and fishing, to be exact. And then finally we'll go through a field training program where we will work with our sergeants in our county, in our district, and kind of get more hands-on experience. And then finally you're let go, and you're working on your own.
And 800 applicants approximately. Who hires? So who kind of wades through all that and says, okay, these are the number we'll interview, and then finally these are the final 5? How does the hiring process work? Who knows that?
It comes into all the applicants come into human resources for our agency. They come in, and they'll look at them, and the degree, the type of degree, is a factor in who makes it to the final round to be able to come to an interview. Depending on the degree, what they have it or not, we'll usually whittle it down to around 100 that will come in for, or maybe less, but 100 or less for a face-to-face interview. Out of that 80 to 100, we'll try to pull back. If we have 5 positions or 6 positions, we'll try to pull back several qualified candidates that we really think would be that would do well on the job. Mm-hmm. And then those people get, usually it's 5 or 6 a year. That's it. And we have several universities in the state that put out 50 or 60 students a year with a degree, but we hire 5 or 6 a year, so it's very competitive.
That would be incredibly competitive. Yes. Fascinating. And I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but unusual calls, I mean, I don't know. People ask me my favorite story. That's hard, and I don't know if these would be favorite, but what are some unusual calls? I guess, again, it gives people a sense of what you're dealing with.
I'll go first. I'll tell you the one thing. When they called me when I first was hired on in 1998, they said, you're going to go to Sullivan County, and I'm from Middle Tennessee, and they said, do you know where that's at? And I said, I know where Knoxville is. So it's another 100 miles northeast of Knoxville. And I thought, I'm going to rural America. I'm going to the mountains. There's not going to be that many people. It's going to be great. And I get up there, and there are more people there than there were where I grew up. But one of the first calls I got there was this lady called, and she said, I've got a baby eagle in my yard. Can you come get it? And you know, I'm trained. I've had all these classes. I know that baby eagles shouldn't be little in August. They should be flying, and they should be bigger. So I drove up to the house, and she's waving me over to the barn, and she says, it's behind the barn. And I walked around there, and she says, there it is. And I looked at her and said, ma'am, it's a white chicken. And it was just a chicken. It wasn't an eagle. It was just a white chicken. But you'd be surprised. So from that day, I've had 3 chicken eagle calls. They were all chickens.
People, you would think they wouldn't get that mixed up.
Well, they got the gold beak.
Okay.
You know, it's,
all right, so
it's a white chicken, but they just get it confused.
It's just a chicken. All right.
What have you had, Eric?
Do y'all want? Yeah. What do
I got just a brief one, and this is one of on the more harmless side of things, I guess. There was an individual that I would see on Percy Priest every summer during my time working Davidson County, and I stopped him one day for a registration violation. As I approached him, I noticed something sitting on his shoulder, and as I got close to him, sure enough, there's this parrot, full-grown parrot, sitting on his shoulder. So I was kind of taken back, and we checked his registration, and I had to quiz him about it, and then he said, well, I forget the parrot's name. He said he will ride with me everywhere on the jet ski. And I said, I've got to see this. So we let him go, and we watched, and he just punched it and just took off on this jet ski. And that parrot just leaned down and hunkered down and grabbed his life jacket and rode with this guy going 50, 60 mile an hour. And I would look for him every Saturday or Sunday we were out there, and we saw him several times my last couple of years. I just wave at him, and every time I saw him, he had the parrot sitting on his shoulder on the jet ski. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
That is amazing. All right. We have 1 minute left. You've just started, so you can't top that. You can't top parrot.
No, I can't. I mean, I've had a few calls here and there, but
he's in Davidson. He's in Davidson County.
It's going to happen.
Give it a week.
Give it a week. Yeah, come back in a week. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap everything up. Take a break. Be back right after this.